Oh, snap, it's your boy Gabe Patillo, Ed Placencia, Chris McCracken. We spoiling Spider-Man on PS4.
Woo.
We are definitely going to spoil it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, this is a spoiler alert for the whole rest of the time
Yes.
that this audio goes on.
Mm-hmm.
We're spoiling Spider-Man on PS4.
Yes.
If you haven't played it, stop listening. Or
Right.
if you're not going to play it, maybe you're an Xbox guy and you're like, I just want to hear about it. Then you keep listening. You're invited.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
you're
fine.
fine.
But anybody who hasn't played it is not invited because we want you to play this game.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, in the spoilers, I love this game. How about that for a spoiler alert?
I like it.
Shoot, I don't even know where to start. Chris, let's start with just general overall. Now that we've all three finished it, all three platinumed it, let's go with generals. You go first, Chris.
So, general, I knew I was going to like this game. I mean, I bought the collector's edition because I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to enjoy this game. But even I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
So we talked on the podcast and me and Ed were all hype about it and you felt like you were lagging behind on the hype. Have you caught up with the hype or are you still...
Yeah.
what do you feel
I
about
think
it?
I definitely caught up with it. I mean, I don't want it to make it sound like I was hating on the game in any sense, but I was like, it was what I expected up until that point. And it was after that it finally started to really open up into giving me things that I wasn't necessarily sure about or didn't know was going to happen. And that's when it all started to kick in. Up until that point, I had pretty much seen what I expected. So, and I was enjoying that. I was ready to be like blown away by something. And then it's got rolling from there for me.
There you go.
Yeah, I really, really liked it.
Edward?
Yeah, I from the first trailer they showed at E3, that extended helicopter chase, I was on board. I'd never played a Spider-Man game before, and I stopped watching / reading anything about the game after I saw that because I wanted to go in totally unaware. I'm not a Spider-Man fan, as in I don't know the comics, I don't know the lore. I just wanted to go explore, let the story unfold, and man, I knew it looked fun. I knew I wanted to play it, but it super exceeded my expectations. I was very happy with the game.
Nice. I like that. So when you say you aren't a fan, didn't know much, like did anything ring a bell or only things from the movies over the last, decade and a half or something like that ring a bell?
Yeah, as soon as Dr. Octavius shows up, I knew who that was. I knew who Harry Osborn would become, or Norman Osborn. I knew Mary Jane, and I had just recently, within the last year maybe, heard of Miles just because the movie they're making with Miles as Spider-Man.
Yep.
So I knew who Miles was as soon as they showed him. But other than that,
so that's pretty much
nothing.
everybody though. You knew everybody, at least. Like it seems like they at least set it up for even if you didn't really know, you knew.
Right. Yeah. I had never heard of the Sinister Six. I had heard of Fisk because Sarah watches Daredevil a lot, and he's on that show.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know really where to start. I mean, we just started at the beginning. I mean, you come in fighting Fisk. It's kind of the first thing you get after, and he's kind of the first boss that you have to fight before really doing whatever you want.
Yes.
after that. What'd you guys think of the combat?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to go with Ed here.
It took a while to get a hold of.
Yes, exactly.
It was definitely overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't remember moves very well, so I pretty much just found one or two moves that I remembered and felt comfortable with and used those over and over again throughout the entire game.
What were your moves?
Just basically the holding down the square to hit them in the air. It wasn't until I watched like Chris's playthrough and then Sarah's that I really picked up, okay, the punch and slide between the legs, that's a good move.
Yeah.
If you punch them in the air and then hold triangle, you pull them down and slam them against the floor. I learned afterwards. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Chris, what about you? What do you think of the combat?
Yeah, I'm the exact same as Ed. Early on, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just a lot to remember. Because you find out pretty early on, and I feel like they really push you this direction. But he's really not a get on the ground and brawl kind of person. You really do the most damage and you have the best chance for success if you're in the air, pulling people in the air, or flying through the air, or go down, punch, then get back up in the air and swoop around that way. So, I mean, I was approaching it. The only Arkham game that I ever played was the last one, Arkham Knight. And so I was approaching it kind of like that early on, and that was not the right way to do it at all. But I think they really incentivize you and really kind of tell you without explicitly telling you, hey, you'll be able to do a lot better if you're in the air and pulling people up to you and all this kinds of stuff. So I was the same as Ed.
Right.
Like, I would say midway through the game, I feel like I had a good amount of the combat moves pretty much down, but early on it's always a slow roll with me. I've got to really build up that skill base and that muscle memory to remember what exactly to do.
Do you know which ones you went to the most, your moves?
I liked to jump up in the air and then grab something with the R1 and L1 and then throw it at them and stun them.
Yeah.
And then I would like punch, and then knock them up in the air, and then I would finish them off in the air. And my favorite to do, it was probably maybe a little over halfway through the game before I finally unlocked the ability where while they're in the air, then you could hold square and you'll like shoot up a web and you'll swing and kick them. And I love kicking guys. Like if I'd be on a rooftop or anything, like I'm kicking you off the edge, because the minute you kick them off the edge, they're out of the fight. So the quicker I could get somebody off the edge, that's what I was doing, whatever it took to do that.
Yeah.
That is so funny. That was the only move that I felt like in the whole game didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because you could be on a rooftop and do it, where when you're swinging through the city, it seemed like you always were attaching to something that was real.
Yes.
But that swing kick was the only thing that was like, I wouldn't be able to do that all the way up here.
That is the one thing that I thought about, because a lot of people early on, which I didn't really dabble with photo mode very much in this game.
Sir.
Maybe after the fact, now that I've beat it, I may go back and dabble a little bit. But I heard people saying like, hey, if you're swinging around the city and you stop and you go into photo mode and you look, every time he's attached to something. But that was the one time where I was like, is he really at this situation? Because I'm like on the top of this building and there's not a little antenna. What's he attaching to?
That's right.
So I think that's the one time where that logic kind of just falls by the wayside. I kind of want to do it just to see if what's the heck he's attaching to.
Yeah. My big thing, same as you guys, and I was so critical of the combat before I played the game, because I felt like in any demo or trailer we saw beforehand, it was really slow. But it definitely doesn't feel slow when you're playing it.
No, it doesn't.
And mashing those buttons. Mine was definitely hit him up in the air. I really used the crap out of the web bombs.
Yes.
Like, to get him up against a wall or just, have it spread out and hit a bunch of people. And then later in the game, kind of like Chris was saying, as you unlock more and more skills, I really loved pulling them up into the air.
Yep.
And so you would uppercut him into the air, punch, knock that guy out, hold down triangle, which would pull the next guy up into the air, punch, finish him off, hold triangle again, and pull a third guy up there, punch, finish him off before you had to land. And so
is that right?
I really like doing that, because same as you guys, I really love the aerial combat and the kind of floatiness, didn't make that was another one of the things in the game that didn't make too much sense, that you could just kind of be up there forever fighting somebody. But I loved it. I ended up loving the combat. I love throwing people after webbing everybody. Speaking of so just talking about combat, what about the skills, the combat skills? What are those about the special webs and things like that did you guys use?
Like the gadgets and whatnot?
Yeah. I used the web bomb a lot, and I used the trip mine when I had to. And then I started using it later on in the game because I had to pop that trophy. And then once I figured it out, I used it all the time. But early on, probably 75% of the game, I only used the web bomb and maybe electricity.
Yeah.
Ed, what about you?
I definitely use the trip mines a lot. I use the web bombs. The trip mines, really, once I got to use them, they're like a one-shot kind of a thing. I love those trip mines.
That's right. Yeah. Chris?
I liked the one where it would blast them back, and then if it was near a surface, they'd attach them to the wall. Was that the web bomb?
Oh, no.
That's
different? The other one I used all the time. Yes, that was...
the impact web?
Yeah, that sounds right. The impact web or something like that.
Impact web?
I used that one a lot.
I never used that. I have no idea how that works.
Dude.
The trip mine, I never used until I realized there was a trophy attached to it, and then I started using it. I was like, oh, that is actually kind of cool. I didn't realize. I think whatever the very last one is where it puts him up in the air, I never even unlocked it. And honestly, I would say after about a quarter of the way through the game, I just basically stopped using the tools almost all the time, unless the level or whatever you're doing required it. Like, there were a few where you've got to shoot that box with an electro zapper thing so it'll send the power where it needs to go. I just found myself relying so much on the combat. It wasn't that I didn't want to use the gadgets. I just forgot about them because you get in the thick of battle and I'm just like doing what I know. And it took all my brain power to remember how to pull people in the air and do the kick and all that I would find myself lots of times being like, man, I didn't even use the little gadget wheel at all.
So we're obviously spoiling Spider-Man. We'll get to the story in a second. I just want to kind of create a groundwork just to kind of understand how everybody was playing. Ed, the suit. What suit did you go with the majority of the game?
I started off pretty much just using the white spider suit. But then when I unlocked it, I switched to the cartoon suit. I used that all the time.
Did you?
Until the cutscenes, it looked ridiculous, so I had to kind of go change it back to the white spider suit.
That's hilarious.
So I loved the cartoon suit. It looked amazing, and after I played and finished the story, I went back and used the cartoon suit all the time.
Oh, okay, and then a secondary question: what was your main suit power?
The one you jump in the air and spin around, it just shoots webs everywhere.
Oh my god, yes,
dude. That was the one.
Oh.
That saved me so many times.
Chris, what outfit and what power?
So I as well, for the most of the game, used the white spider. I just felt... I really liked the Spider-Punk. I really enjoyed that one. I got to one cutscene.
Is that the one with the spikes on the head?
Yeah, I got to one cutscene and I was wearing that suit and I was like, I just felt totally stupid wearing that suit
That's
in
right.
the cutscene that I was in. I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. For the recording, I'm just wearing White Spider or something. But I also would go back and forth between White Spider and the Stark suit, the one that he had like in Homecoming and Civil War. I really liked that one as well. And about this point, I'm kind of talking trash about the suits. I'm like, you know what? I know maybe big Spider-Man nuts are like all gaga for these suits, but most of these suits suck. They look stupid. I just like these 4 suits or whatever. And then I got to the cartoon suit, and then I got to, I don't remember the name of it, but there was this one where he's wearing like black jeans and boots, and he has like a leather jacket on.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that one was so cool. I used the heck out of that one, like when I was just going around doing side stuff.
Noir. The noir suit?
No, not the noir one.
It was the one. It was right next to the cartoon suit, like in the suit menu.
Yeah, it's one of the last few that you unlock.
And he's wearing what?
Like a
he's
thriller
wearing
jacket?
like he has like black. Yeah, he has like black jeans on.
Last Stand.
Yeah, it looks like he's wearing a motorcycle leather jacket. Yeah. And it's got a red spider on the back, and it's black and has
first
red
seen in the
accents
Amazing Spider-Man number 500 in 2003.
Wow, look at you knowing all this stuff.
Nerd.
Well, I have it pulled up, you know.
Yeah.
I read a lot of that stuff afterwards about the history of all the different suits, and it's like,
it's too much.
This took place in like the year 20,844.
You're like, none of this makes sense. You can't, there's no following along.
I would say out of the weird ones that are not like, don't look even at all remotely traditional to Spider-Man, that one, the Last Stand suit, was my favorite. I still have one suit to unlock, the one where you get all the hidden photo scenes. Yes. I haven't unlocked that one.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't even know there was another one to unlock.
Yeah, there wasn't a trophy to it, so I was like, all right, this can wait.
I can't believe there wasn't a trophy.
I know. I kind of was too, but I'm glad there wasn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then what was your main outfit power that you used?
Mine also, once I realized how cool Spider Blossom, or what the heck of it is, the one where you just spin in a circle and web everything, I used that. Yep. I mean, I feel like it was a bit overpowered in a way.
Yeah.
I used the mess out of that.
I can't believe they gave it to you so early, like the first thing or something.
Did they give it to us first? Because I don't feel like I got that early on. So. I feel like I got that later on down the road.
It's not the first one.
It felt early.
So you know the suit that you're in, where in the beginning of the game where it gets all cut up?
Mm-hmm.
It's whenever you unlock the clean version of that it's tied to that one. And I don't think I unlocked that until later on in the game. I don't know. I don't remember what it was tied to, so I don't know why you unlock it.
Right.
But maybe whatever I had to do, I did it later in the game or something.
Yeah, 'cause I guess the first power was like the you push the L3, R3, you get the focus power.
The one with the white spider.
Focus.
Yeah, it makes your focus generate faster, which I used that a lot early on because I was always about the choosing attributes that would, let me do health a lot because I was struggling in the beginning because I couldn't remember all the button prompts.
I know that.
I'm getting beat.
Yeah.
And that suit is actually one of the only ones. The white spider is, I think, one of the only ones that wasn't in a comic. It was made for this game by Insomniac, which I think was really cool that they made a suit that looked so great. I used that suit the whole time. I never changed out of it until I had to do the trophies. And I just went through and just changed through suits real quick and popped the trophy. and then I never changed the power. I never even remembered that it was something I could do. And then at the beginning of the game, they're like, "Hey, you can unlock more suits. You can unlock a suit power, and then you have 3 slots for like attribute builders."
Right.
Never did it. Never did it till I platinumed the game, and I was going back to see, because after you platinum it, you get another suit. And when I went back to look at that suit, I was like, "Oh, my 3rd slot is still empty. I never even came and did all the attributes I could have on the thing." I was just so carried away.
Yeah, once I had those 3 slots set, I don't think I went back and changed them.
I think you only start out with 2. Did you go back and add a 3rd?
Yeah, I had 3, and at the very end, I made it to where all of them were tied to focus in some way. But along the way, I didn't mess with them too much. I did unlock the 3rd one, and then I just kind of left it. And I think there was one other suit that was specifically made for this game by Insomniac. It was the what the heck's the name of it? Velocity suit. I think that one was not in any other comic as well.
Okay.
But I think it may have been just that one and White Spider were the only 2 that were specifically made for the game.
White Spider thing is sharp, man.
Yeah, it's so crazy how just that little accent of the White Spider really does make a big of a difference. It's like, oh my gosh, it looks so good. And then the white, like on the gauntlets and stuff, like where he's punching, there's a little accent piece.
So nice.
I really liked it.
Yep. It was really sleek.
I did like unlocking the Doc Ock's arms. Like you could, like the claws that come out of his back in the movie.
Oh, right.
Oh,
I never tried that.
Iron Spider suit.
Yeah. I never tried that.
I did it after I was like just flying around after I platinumed it, and I was like, oh, I can still fight people. And I was like, I wonder what some of these other things are. And I was looking at them. I was like, oh, snap, I can have arms come on my back.
And one thing that I thought was a little strange, and at first I was like, I don't think that was a good idea, but then I started actually really liking that they did it, was that you could use any suit power. Once you've unlocked it, you can use it with any suit.
Yeah, with any suit.
Yeah, I really liked that. At first I thought it was a bad idea, but I was like, well, I'm never going to use these other suits. I'll just use the one and with all the powers, but I ended up moving around suits anyways.
Yeah, I was happy about that.
There you go. So the story is really set up that you guys help me out because I'm not good with details. Fisk, the main big boss guy who's kind of keeping the city in balance, you are the very beginning, you're out to jail him. And so you kind of break him down and jail him. And now it's kind of opened up the city for thugs and other people to kind of come in and take that place. At least that's what J. Jonah Jameson is telling you the whole time, is that because Fisk is jailed, now it's kind of opened up this kind of tangled web of things that other guys can do. As you're going through the game, of course, there's a lot of little shootouts from this. So the basis is you're Spider-Man, you're keeping the city safe, you're trying to keep Mary Jane happy, you're helping out with Aunt May at Feast, which is a thing from the comics, which I didn't know.
I didn't either.
Helping out Mr. Lee, which is also from the comics. That is actually what he did in the comics. He was a philanthropist that ran a homeless shelter called Feast.
That's awesome.
And was Mr. Negative. And so it turns out the bad guys are really trying to get at Norman Osborn. And he's a man of power, and he's got like this little these strands to all the bad guys that are kind of wanting to come out against him. What did you guys feel of just the story overall? Did you feel like it made sense? Did you feel like the reasonings were there for these guys? The first one you kind of meet, and I'm coming at this a little late because the first I did so much between Fisk and actually meeting Mr. Negative. I think I was already at 67% through completing the game before I even had any real interaction with him. I'd met Mr. Lee and I'd been fighting demons, but I hadn't really met Mr. Negative yet. And so I did so much in between Fisk and that the story's a little separated out from me. But as a whole, how'd you guys feel the story, Chris?
I enjoyed it. Like I'm a bit like Ed, where I read comics when I was younger, And I've seen most of the Spider-Man movies, not all of them. But I had no idea. Like, I didn't know if Mr. Lee was a brand new villain they created. I didn't know if he actually existed in the comics. I had never heard of Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
Most of the other ones that you end up finding out, I knew. And like Ed, when we first started working with Dr. Octavius, the whole time I was like, oh, I know who you become. But of course, I didn't have any idea if he was actually going to become Dr. Ock, in the game or not. I didn't know. It was like, well, maybe he's just going to be set up for a villain for, episode 2 or whatever. Exactly. I don't really know. But overall, I like the story. I do like how they definitely tied Doc Ock and Lee to Norman. Like you said, they kind of loosely tied everybody into some extent or some way, but I feel like they were the two main villains in the game in a way, depending on how you look at it. And I like how that they tied into Norman Osborn because, Norman Osborn, if you know anything about Spider-Man stuff, which I know just very little, but he ends up becoming, a main villain down the road as well.
Green Goblin.
Yeah, right. I'm assuming in one of these games he's going to be a main villain as well. They kind of hinted at it numerous times along the way. I never realized that there was quite all that animosity between them. I'm assuming that's to some extent canon. I don't really know. I do know that they had license to change things.
I don't know what it is between Harry and them, but like Peter never really knows Doc Ock before he's Dr. Octopus. You know what I mean? And so, they don't have that relationship.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about
you're talking
Mr.
about the actual
Negative.
comics? That's the way that it is?
In the actual comics.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Spider-Man doesn't meet Dr. Octopus till he's already the villain.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
yeah,
but I thought that was the way they had to do it. I feel like what's amazing about storytelling, just period, is that to take something that's already there and then transform it so much to make it work for your property, the thing that you're going to bring out. Because they really did cover a lot of people with Norman and Harry and Doc Ock and Mary Jane and Aunt May and Mr. Lee and the Sinister Six and, and all these people. And everybody's a little bit different than, you might remember them from the comics or, and listen, I'm not a comic buff either. I'm really an outlier on this stuff too, but there were some things that I was like, oh, him and Mary Jane, where's you kind of looking for Gwen Stacy a little bit, and you're like, oh, well, okay, so Mary Jane's the girl, but they're a little older, so I guess that makes sense, even though they said they've known each other since childhood, but they not really in the comics, they didn't. But then Miles is here, and Miles is grown already. That's kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? And, you're kind of looking at all those things because it seems like each movie or each entertainment property that's tried to introduce Miles has always introduced him as a child because Spider-Man was always so young. And I think in the comics, I'm not sure, but I think Miles didn't take over till kind of later. It's not like Peter's 28 and Miles is 18.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I don't know where I just feel like down the road somewhere I heard this, so I don't know if it's actually legit or not. I probably should have looked it up, but I always thought Miles took over because like Peter Parker dies or something.
That's what I thought too.
I thought that was...
He did.
Okay.
In the comic?
He does.
Okay.
Yes, but what's weird about the comics is that like they get into these universes.
Yeah.
And in one universe, Peter Parker dies, and that's where Miles takes over. And then somehow they join the Ultimate Universe and the Marvel Universe or something like that. And I don't know how it all goes.
It gets very convoluted.
It gets very Wow. We should have brought a Spider-Man aficionado on here.
But honestly, right? I really, one thing I really dig that they kind of had, at least to some extent, they had like license to be able, okay, we can massage the story to fit our narrative. They were able to make their own. And I feel like the things that stay true to the comic book world aren't necessarily because they were told, hey, you have to, but it was more about like they just respect it that much that they're like, hey, we want to keep the main continuities together, but we want to be able to like massage it for our vision and our idea. And I like that that's so awesome that Marvel just gave them the ability to do that, trusted them to be able to do that.
Yes, but you have to remember too, and I mean, not discounting that, but as well, it feels like comic books in general give themselves that license. Like to have all these universes and all these outfits, at some point you got to be like, all right, the canon is he got bit by a spider, and now go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So, when you look through, especially the histories of all these suits, you're like, even like, what's the one that kind of looks like the Ghost one?
The negative suit?
No, it looks like
Ghost Spider. Kind of looks like Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Ghost Spider.
So Spirit Spider, right?
Spirit
Spider. First appearance, Amazing Spider-Man. Annual, number 38, 2011. The alternate reality of Earth 11638 poses the question of what happens if Uncle Ben never died and inspired Peter to become Spider-Man. This Peter became the Amazing Spider and later died while trying to steal the powers of other spider heroes. He was granted a second chance at life by the Sorcerer Supreme of his universe, Bruce Banner. And thus the Ghost Spider was born. And so, like, even in the comics, you're like, I can't, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it's like all the universes. So I see what you're saying, but it seems to be a thing that comics do. Like, you go ahead and you make a canon version of your own thing. And
that's what I read, that it's cool that the game is its own universe, which I think is cool that they did it that way.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of, I'm going to just go through some characters as we talked about story a little bit before we get to the end. What'd you guys think of Mary Jane?
I liked her.
I did too. I still can't believe it was Laura Bailey. They had to have,
that's what I thought.
I had no idea. They had
to have pitched her voice, right? Because it sounded, even after I knew it was her, I couldn't recognize her voice.
And it was somebody else's face, though. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you guys like the sleuthing side of her? I think she originally never really had anything to do with his life on that side of things. I think she was more like, she was actually a supermodel in the comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I liked her playing this, like, work for the Bugle type thing.
Yeah, I did too. I liked it a lot. I liked, Gabe and I were kind of talking about the other night how I liked her sneaking around missions. They were definitely tricky. Even Miles's, but as I watched other people play, I liked them less and less. Just because
I hated those missions.
So
really?
Yeah, when I played, I liked them. I thought they were fun. Again, I kind of struggled through them, but when I watched other people play, when they got to that part, it was like, oh man, here we go. This is going to be a struggle.
Chris, you go ahead about your thoughts before
I was totally fine with them. I enjoyed them. I struggled a bit more on the ones that Miles did. Like when you had to go through, you were kind of sneaking around through the Sable like little area to try to get to the feast. Like I screwed up on that a ton. But I didn't really have much of an issue with them. It wasn't until later on I started looking around and saw, man, a lot of people are really not liking these little stealthy parts, and I didn't have any issue with it.
Man, I did not. You know, it's funny. I didn't struggle with them. I maybe in total of all of them messed up 5 times between Miles and Mary Jane.
Wow.
But I just could not stand them. They were so linear and they were so like, do this, make a noise over here, go over and do this. So it didn't feel as suspenseful to me. And I think coming from all that power that I had as Spider-Man and then dumbing it way down, I thought was a cool idea for maybe twice. But I don't know how many, obviously, you do as Mary Jane. I think it's like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then as Miles, I think you do 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And like when you're first Miles and he's trying to get to his dad, that's different. But like when he's like, oh, I just so happen to be able to hack all this stuff. I was like, oh man, come on.
Yeah, when they went to Grand Central Station as Mary Jane and then you started telling Spidey to do, I thought that was a really cool twist.
That was dope.
That whole approach.
Are you saying dope or dumb?
Dope.
Okay, yeah, because I really enjoyed that part too. That was of hers. That one was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I was okay, here we go. The Feast one as Miles, I was like, I couldn't have just showed up at Feast. Like I just walked in a straight line.
Right.
Like I don't think I even did anything sneaky on that one. I was like, okay, distract, walk. I felt like if you ran enough, they didn't notice you fast enough.
I got caught more on that one than any of the other ones.
What?
I have no idea.
And
honestly, like if there was, I think there was like 3 sections you had to get through. It was the last one. I kept, I would hack the little radio thing or whatever. The guy would walk over there and I was clearly like, compared to the other levels, like I'm way out of this dude's view. And all of a sudden he'd be like, oh no, I'm sorry. And it'd say like mission fail. I'm like, what in the world I couldn't figure out what I was screwing up. And then it turned out like you had to, you could hack 2 different things in that area or something, and it was the second one that was the better one that took them further away. I was like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
I so felt for you on that part, Chris, because I was like, oh no, it's that other thing. It's oh no.
Yeah.
And you were just like, what's going on?
I could not figure it out. It was insane. That's when I got a little annoyed.
Can't reach through the screen and help somebody out.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
And to your point, Gabe, like you were saying, coming from the power of Spider-Man to all of a sudden, if they see you, it's game over. That was definitely you just felt so helpless. It's just like I just want to rush through and get through this board, and I just want to get out of here.
Get back to it. Yeah. You just want it to be over. Oh my gosh. Were there any things like story-wise, mission-wise, which mission stuck out that bugged you the most?
I don't think anything.
Oh, Ed.
I don't think anything story-wise. I thought I was gonna hate the Harry Osborn, the units on top of the towers, the environmental things, but then they were so different from each other. I didn't mind them. The Taskmaster ones were I as soon as I got enough tokens to buy all the suits, I was like, I'm never playing these again.
I know. Yeah. I was the same way, except for the fact that he beat me the second time we met up.
Oh, yep, me too.
And so when he beats you, you have to go do one of his things again, and then he'll fight you again. And that's the only reason I did. The only reason I didn't like. So when the game first started, and you kind of have all these things to do around the map, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm starting to do them, blah, 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 blah. And then when Harry's things popped up, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like all the way out in the water and fish. Oh, gosh. Like, why does this even matter? And so I left it, came back, new attitude. Did them, loved them. I kind of took it segment by segment. So if there was a story plot in one area, I would do all the side stuff in that area, then do the story.
Yeah.
Unless I accidentally swung into another section, then I just went ahead and did that section's side things too.
Yeah.
So it took me so long to meet Mr. Negative. But the Taskmaster ones.
Those are tough.
Because it came so late in the game for me where I had cleared everything.
Yes.
And it was like, sorry, you've got... I was like, oh. And the same thing with the Sable and the
I was
other guys' things too. I was
cleared it of crimes already, and now it's like...
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your least favorite
I did not like
side mission?
Going and catching the stupid birds. I didn't want anything to do with
really?
That was fun.
I didn't want to catch the dumb birds.
I loved doing those pigeons.
Nah, man. I was on out of
I
got the second one. I was like, oh my gosh, all right, Dave Fenoy, I don't love you that much. I'm done with these birds.
That guy was the most, like, he appreciated you more than anybody else in the game.
Yeah, that's true. He did.
I can't believe you did it, Peter. You sent home Margaret. Like, he was just so surprised and elated that you would do this for his dead wife. Oh.
Yeah, but I did not like
catching pigeons for Lee.
The pigeons. Nah, I wasn't feeling the pigeon stuff. What
was your favorite ones?
Favorite ones? I don't know if I favorite because I could do them pretty easily was the ones where the Taskmaster where you had to go find the bombs and then throw them and then shoot them with the webs.
Really?
I got my best scores on those.
Interesting.
I liked the ones where you had to be real stealthy for the Taskmaster, but it wasn't until later on that I realized I completely forgot about how like when you're at the perch and you can grab them and pull them up. And I also wasn't thinking about how there were suit powers that you could activate that would keep them silent so they wouldn't trigger the other guys. Once I realized those, I would go through and do them and I could get better scores on them.
I never changed any of that.
I know, right?
It's just so funny.
Wow.
But I thought they were kind of cool. I did not like... I ended up getting over the crimes towards the end because I kind of like you. I was like a little in between you and Ed. I did most of the side stuff before I was going to finish the game, and my whole goal was to have all the side stuff completely done. But all the crimes I had left in every zone, and I had to go do them. And for a while, it was taking me forever because I was like, I've just got to hang out in this district until a crime pops up. But then I saw a video where the guy said, hey, I found this out that if you fast travel to an area, even if it's within the same district, when you get out of the fast travel point, within a couple, like 20 seconds or so, a crime will pop up. And that made him go way faster. And then I was able to knock him out a lot quicker. And then I was like, okay, it's not so bad if I can get him going a little bit quicker. But when I had to just swing around and hope one would pop up, that was a pain.
Ed, what was your favorite ones?
Wow, it's hard to say because the rest of it I just pretty much loved it all. I wasn't a fan of the, hey, my friend's here. Here's a photo of him. Go find where he is.
Yeah.
Especially if it wasn't like, oh, that's the Brooklyn Bridge or that's the Statue of Liberty.
That was
like,
late in the game too, boy. Golly.
But the rest of them I really enjoyed. I just liked. Chris, in your playthrough, you did something that I didn't do. I wish I did. Is you kept finding that girl at Feast that you helped early on.
Yeah, once I found out that she was there all the time, I was like, oh, every time I go to Feast, I'm gonna go find her.
That was cool. I really like that touch.
Great. Hearing her story is great.
Yeah. This is one of the few games that usually in games where you come across someone's journal or a recorded message, I always say, I'll watch this afterwards, and then I never do.
Yeah,
and
right.
In this game, I watched and listened and read everything, and it was just so nice. Just the information, the backstory, the little things like that really made it worth listening to and reading everything. It was really nice. I liked that.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? My favorite had zero payoff, and I was a little disappointed. I actually really liked doing the Black Cat missions. And
really?
I thought, like...
Well, it
That was
kind of
fun.
had payoff. You got a suit out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you don't even get to, like, see Black Cat or fight her
but
or
it kind of
anything
set
like
it
that.
up, I think, for the DLC coming out.
Yeah, she's part of the, I think the first DLC
The first
that dropped.
DLC.
She's
Oh, is
involved
she? You
heavily
know what's
with
funny,
that.
Chris? When you talked about the fact that they had announced the DLC already, I was like, I'm not going to go look at it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I was like Ed, I was like, I don't want anything to be spoiled either way. But now that I've beaten it, I can go look.
You know
I
what's
think-
funny is that I didn't realize, and this is more a comic thing than it is a thing of the game, and I don't know what came first, but I realized how many characters are Batman characters. I was like, so this is basically Catwoman, and then
Oh, that's right.
the
Yeah.
one girl who was the internet fan that was like, someone's kidnapped, go here. I was like, so that's Harley Quinn? Okay. So it was funny
right, exactly.
how similar a lot of the characters were.
But that's kind of Marvel and DC mirror each other a lot like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, that's why I thought the same thing. I was like, at least I don't have to worry about the question that's going to be posed to me with my relationship with Black Cat.
Yeah.
As it was with Catwoman.
Right.
Trying to get a brother. What do you guys think as we make our way towards the end of the game and we start meeting the Sinister Six? Did you guys have a favorite out of those guys? I feel like it was so fast you really didn't get attached to those guys.
Yeah, one thing that I will say,
I wish there was more attachment there.
and I don't mean this as a negative necessarily, because I actually
Mr.
Negative.
No. I just mean overall. Yeah, I don't think that the boss fights were particularly difficult.
What?
No, they weren't hard.
I did not struggle with them really at all. But I like that.
Ed.
Yeah, sorry. I know some people had an issue with that. They're like, oh, these boss fights are really formulaic and they're not that hard or whatever. But I actually appreciated that because I was like, I still enjoyed them, but I was able to get done and move on. Like if I would have had to play, what was it, the Shocker and then Vulture like 12 times in a row to beat them, I'd have been pretty annoyed. The fact that I could just kind of knock them out the first go round, I was happy with that.
Yes, I tell you, that was my favorite boss fight of the whole game.
Yeah.
The Shocker
Was it?
one?
Yeah, Electro and Vulture.
Yeah, Electro,
just the
that's
fact
his
that you're
name.
up
Gosh.
that high and that you're shooting stuff and slow mo and vultures coming by. It really, I feel like those two, way more than Rhino and
Scorpion. Or whatever his name
Scorpion,
Right.
was.
Whatever his name was. His name's not Scorpion, is it?
I think
I
it
don't remember
is.
what his name is.
I think it
The
might
Scorpion
But I-
Man.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I've fought both of Electro and Vulture at the same time, where in the other fight I just took care of Rhino first and then fought the other guy.
be. Okay, right.
Did anybody have any flashbacks to Max Payne when you got drugged by Scorpion Guy?
I didn't
feel
have a
like-
flashback to Max Payne, and I didn't even play this game, but I very much, it was at that point that I was like, this feels very like Batman Arkham-ish, because wasn't there like a Scarecrow one where you get all
Scarecrow,
like
yes.
your
Yeah.
world's
It's the
all
same
weird?
thing.
I was like, this
Same
feels
exact
like a
thing.
cut and paste almost of that in terms of like the overall idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminded me of Scarecrow and also a little bit of Evil Within too.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I didn't play that one.
Yeah, there's like a section where like the you're kind of like the platforms you're walking on kind of like are upside down and spinning or whatever.
Nice. Oh, so the DLC is going to come in 3 different chapters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one a month.
Be
October, November, and
$25.99, or you can buy them for $10 each.
Yep.
I think the first one, because that's the one they've actually released a small trailer for, or teaser trailer, and that showed Black Cat, so I'm assuming she's involved.
Yeah.
With that one, at least.
I'm definitely buying the DLC. You guys?
Oh, yeah, I've already got it. I already
Yeah,
it.
mine was bundled, because I bought the collector's edition. It was bundled in with that. So I'm all
nice.
Yeah, and I'm totally ready for it.
You think they'll take it past December?
I don't know. I mean, I think they could, because I'm not expecting them to be huge things. I'm expecting them to be, rather bite-sized to some extent.
Yeah,
so
pretty quick.
I mean, I think it's something they could continue on. But I do know, I feel like they've said, or somebody from Insomniac has come out and said, like, hey, as long as this game does well, we're planning like a trilogy. So I'm sure they're pretty soon going to be jumping on game 2, because it's going to take them a while to make it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Is the DLC coming out? Boom, boom, boom. That seems a little fast to me.
They say that it's November, December. October,
yeah.
November, December, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like the one in October, I think, is like around the 26th or something. Like it's late in the month. It's not right away.
Yeah, the 23rd.
If I remember right. Yeah, 23rd.
Interesting. What else do we need to cover? We got bad guys. We've got plot, story. We've got, what'd you guys feel about like those last 2 fights, Mr. Negative and Octavius?
I struggled with Octavius's. Struggled.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I really, which I kind of am curious about what you think, Gabe, because I was a little like, I don't really know. Mr. Negative doesn't sound all that cool or whatever, but I ended up really enjoying Mr. Negative, his whole storyline and his arc and everything. Mm-hmm. Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, you came in, you were all like, man, Negative, that's stupid, whatever. Yeah. Like, so did you end up changing your mind, or you still feel the same? I
didn't like the way he looked ever.
Yeah,
I just didn't like the look of him. Mm-hmm. I thought it was fine, though. I mean, he comes in and he's it was weird for me for him to be the main villain for most of the game. Just because I didn't like him and because I didn't know him already.
Right.
And because I'd never even had heard of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd at least heard of the Sinister Six and know who all those guys are. Mm-hmm. But to not know this guy at all, I was like, oh, man, this whole thing's around him. And, the fact that, you always was wondering what he's doing. Okay, is he possessing somebody, or is he just stealing their power? Or is he, there's a couple times he would touch somebody and they would, come out in a rage. There's sometimes he would touch somebody, they just fall down. And then he would drain himself and be weak. And you're like, oh, man, yeah. So, I mean, he was fine. It just wasn't like as banging as I would have thought it'd be for a main villain of the game.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind I don't think I minded his reasonings.
Motivation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he struggled with it too. Like he didn't want to be this Mr. Negative, and I just love that struggle that they gave him.
Like the side that just won out rather than him choosing it.
And really all of the villains, I loved their motivations they put in there, just starting off and really liking Doc Ock, but knowing who he's going to be and just rooting for him. And, he'd start to slip and then he'd catch himself. And
they pulled a Telltale Batman on that one.
Oh, man. It was so...
With Two-Face.
Yeah, just so good. And even the Sinister Six, just, the fact that Rhino couldn't get out of his suit. And that was why he was helping out Doc Ock, because he promised to help him get out of his suit.
Yeah,
and just the one guy had cancer, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I loved everyone's motivations.
They tied those together really, really well.
Yep. And so, what did you guys think about the Aunt May and how that ended up going?
Oh my gosh, Sarah's gonna be so mad.
That I was so surprised.
Yes,
that they killed Aunt May.
As soon as Sarah started playing, we saw her. She was like, she's going to die. And I was like, no. The uncle's the one that always dies. She always lives.
And that's what I thought.
So I hate that I said that to her, knowing what's coming for her.
I was so surprised. It really got me in the stomach. I was like,
I mean, I kind of, when they had that scene where the devil's breath had been released, and she's like coughing in that mask and there's blood in that mask, I was like, oh no, we're going to lose Aunt May.
I know.
And when she went, Man, I got choked up. I really did. You can hear it in the recording. Like, you can hear my voice. I've got the little shaky wow, like, wow. And I'm like, I'm glad I don't have picture-in-picture on this because I'm over here, like, holding back tears like an idiot. It got me. It really did. It really did.
What was so weird was I felt like that was the first time in the game that they went after the heart. That was the first time where, like, you see him struggle to put that antidote in her IV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he doesn't do it. You're like, wait, where has the heart been this whole time? Like, my heart was invested for the first time at that point. That was the end of the game.
I didn't believe I was in denial. I was like, no, they didn't kill her. And then they're at the grave, and I was like, oh, it's probably someone else's funeral. It's not really hers. They want you to think it is. Then they show the headstone, and I was like, oh, crap, they did kill Aunt May.
Doggone it. I couldn't believe it. What bad guy, was there any bad guys you guys were looking for that didn't show up that you thought would?
There weren't any that I had heard of that, I mean, I guess besides the Sandman, I remember him from a movie. They referenced him in one of the backpacks, but I wasn't like looking for him or waiting for him.
You listened to all those?
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Man, by the way, backpacks of all the little side stuff was my favorite. I listened to every single one of them as well.
There was so much backstory and filled you in.
You listened to all the. I listened to zero of those.
Oh yeah, I opened up the backpack. I looked at the thing. I twirled it around, and while he chatted about it.
Yeah, I went back and listened to all the J. Jonah Jameson podcasts.
How do you do that?
I didn't know you could listen to that.
Yeah, and it's in the collectibles tab. There's like backpacks, and there's like one for. I forget what it's called, but it's in there. You can go back
I will
and
totally do that because there'd be times I'd be swinging towards a mission and I would get closer. I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to activate it if I perch right there and finish him out. And it would start the mission and he would stop. And I was like, dang it.
Yeah. And that's where you've heard how Mr. Negative got his name. And I did hear that one. J. Jonah Jameson that named it. And that made it even better. I just love that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I was really surprised that we didn't see any Green Goblin.
Yeah,
I wasn't. Once we got to the end, the last fight, I was like, oh, I could tell that felt like this is the end. And I was like, then he must be the one set up for the, going to be the setup for the next one or something.
Was it just me, or as we went on, did Norman's hair get more like Green Goblin-ish? Like it kind of stood up more? Did you guys notice that?
I didn't notice that.
And then at the end, when Mary Jane is sneaking around inside his apartment and you finally get in there, into his secret lab, you find those Green Goblin bombs in there that he's working on.
The grenades that Oscorp had made or whatever,
What are they, the pumpkins?
Yeah, they were just little silver orbs.
Yeah, they're silver and they had purple on them as well, because the Green Goblin didn't, it was Hobgoblin that had the pumpkin ones, which is in the comics and in the, I guess in the movies as well, it's his son turns into Hobgoblin after Green Goblin is dead. Yeah.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So Green Goblin had these ones that were had purple on them, and those little ones that you see in that area, they're purple and they had like silver little linings around them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that leads me to my biggest irk of the game.
Okay. Really?
So we know that we go on and we beat Mr. Negative, we beat Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we don't kill anyone. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes to the raft, which did a killer job the first time around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Let's
Arkham.
send him right back. Yeah, exactly. Let's send him right back to the place. So my first irk.
Mm-hmm.
The very end, to me, before the amazing credits, because I thought the credits were incredible the way they did them.
Yeah.
Yep.
You meet with Mary Jane in a coffee shop, and it ends on a kiss.
Yeah.
And that bugged the crap out of me.
Really?
Why?
It felt like such a plateau. It didn't feel like you're flirting with kissing her the whole game. Like, you guys get married. Like, maybe it's because I know too much, but I'm like, don't you, like, they kiss and then credits? I was like, I just thought it would end on like a Spider-Man something before the credits.
But the whole story, though, it's kind of like they're trying to get together again. You didn't
know
if
for
they
sure
will.
if in this universe if it was going to happen or not, or they were just going to be like, hey, we're really good friends. I didn't know. I had a feeling it wasn't going to happen.
Chris, you can't tell that they're going to just...
I totally would. It would not have been... I would not have been shocked if it ended and it was just like a flirtatious maybe...
Get him, Tiger talk.
They had just as much of the whole, like, you know what, you're always trying to protect me, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could have totally seen it waiting until game 2.
If you and your wife were hanging out at the mall and some girl walked up and y'all was talking and then you was like, anyway, we got to get out of here. And she goes, go get him, Tiger. Your wife go look at you for the rest of the ride home. Like, what she mean, go get him, Tiger?
I know, but I'm just saying the way that they played it the whole game, I would have seen if they waited till like game 2 to resolve that situation. It didn't. I mean, it didn't surprise me. It wouldn't have surprised me either way, honestly.
But what I'm saying is, were you waiting on bated breath for that to happen?
I was. I wanted to see them get back together.
I was rooting for him.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him too, but right before the credits, it just didn't seem that powerful to me at the end of the game.
I mean,
yeah, that's all right.
It was fine with me.
If you swapped that with like the mid-credit scene
with Miles,
I'd have been fine with that. Yeah. If like they went to the Miles thing, so what's so fun is Miles gets bit by a spider, and then he says, "Hey Pete, some weird stuff's happening to my body." He jumps up on the ceiling, and then Peter does too. Like, hey, we're both the guy. That's
so
right.
One other thing that I never really fully got is like I didn't think at any point Miles knew for sure that Peter was Spider-Man. So was that the first time that gets revealed to him?
Yes, that's Peter telling him he's Spider-Man.
I didn't realize that just because by the end I felt like all Peter's friends knew anyhow. So I just assumed Miles did too.
That seems odd to me because
Harry know?
Why would he just do that in front of Peter for no reason? That didn't make any sense to me unless he knew that was Spider-Man. That didn't make any sense.
I thought Miles didn't have any friends.
Right.
And so Pete has become, and you guys have just gone through this crazy thing together.
Yeah, I think that's why.
And so I think he was like, I can't talk to my mom about this. I gotta talk to you about this.
I mean, honestly, that scene right there made, even though I overall understood it, that made a little more like head scratching moment to me than the Mary Jane and Spider-Man kiss.
No, Mary Jane wasn't head scratching. I expected them to kiss. That's why I didn't like that it was right before the credits. I wanted them to kiss and then do something amazing with Spider-Man, and like he gets a call like, hey, some big just name one of his other villains is tearing up the city, and he's like, I'm on it. Spider Cop on the way, and then they go to the credits. That would have been, I would have liked that. It would have lifted my spirits. But anyway,
all right.
The Miles thing happens halfway through the credits, which I love that they did mid credits and after credits things in the video game. And then we come to an end credit.
Yeah,
this is my second irk.
Oh man,
I can't stand this right here.
Really?
Uh-oh.
And I could be
what
wrong.
Part? Because there's a lot for you to.
I know. So, Norman Osborn goes back to his room that you've snuck into with Mary Jane, where he's keeping all his secrets.
Which, by the way,
That's where you
when
see
we were in there as
everything.
Mary Jane, and I saw that, I was like, "There's something involved with this thing, this big sarcophagus, whatever the word is, sarcophagus looking thing.
Yeah.
There's something there."
Well, that's what I thought too, but I just thought it was like a Green Goblin outfit.
I didn't even think
notice.
that. I was like, "But there's something here."
Yeah. He peels back this sarcophagus, as Chris would like to call it, and reveals that his son Harry has been in there the whole time, not in Australia where you thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yes.
I was like, good. It's glowing green. That's perfect. This is all set up for Green Goblin and Hobgoblin.
Right.
He puts his hand and forehead to the glass, and what happens?
Groot shows up.
Symbiote
Yep.
shows up. That bugged the crap out of me. I don't think that there's ever a time when Harry Norman is Venom.
See,
and so
that's
and they were making that look like Venom stuff.
Yes.
That's the good thing about not knowing anything about it, because I didn't know anything about Venom. I didn't know that Harry becomes any kind of villain. So I was just like, what is this? So I loved it. It just blew my mind.
But I'm like, Eddie Brock plays such a big role in Peter Parker's past that for him not to come across and be him or Flash Thompson, really, to end up being Venom just feels real weird to me. And I mean,
do we know that's what it is for sure, though?
We don't know 100%, but that's what it is.
But that's
what it is.
Really?
And
that's
Gabe,
gotta be what it is.
Given the fact that you didn't pay attention to any of the stuff in the backpacks, there's already proof in the game that Eddie Brock is in the universe.
I know. That's what I mean. Reading about the game, I've heard that he's mentioned a bunch of times.
Even though I'm not as irked by it as you, I am kind of like, huh. So, because it could totally be a thing where, like, Norman Osborn somehow got access to the symbiote and he put it together trying to find the cure, and the symbiote's still going to get past and then go to an Eddie Brock. It could still go that way, and he could still be Hobgoblin. It doesn't have to be that Henry is going to become Venom. I mean, it might, though, because they have the license to kind of massage things and tweak it how they want. I just think it's cool that, because Venom's a better villain than Hobgoblin anyways. So I'd rather have Venom in the world. So I just like that they're showing, look, Venom is going to show up at some point. To me, that's cooler than knowing that I don't really care who dons the Venom outfit. I just want to see Venom.
I mean, maybe, are you saying that Norman made the symbiote?
Not that he made
Instead
it,
of
but
being like Alien?
No. I'm not saying that he made it.
Trying to figure out how to get rid of it.
Yeah, maybe he found it because, he's got access to all this crazy stuff. Maybe he found the symbiote and he learned something about it. It's like, maybe I combine these two. Maybe this symbiote can heal my son. And then maybe in the game they'll find out, oh, he can't. And then the symbiote escapes or something and then attaches to Eddie Brock.
Exactly.
It could go that way. We don't know what it's going to be.
Harry in a condition that he has to become Hobgoblin in order to live or whatever. I don't know.
It could still turn out that they go the way that they're supposed to, but I just like that it not really guaranteed, but it opened the door that Venom's going to be in this video game universe at some point down the road. That's what I liked.
Yeah, man.
I liked it too. It just bugged me that it was Harry.
I didn't care.
Not only are we using a side character, but we're using somebody who's already spoken for. You know what I'm saying? It's like Harry's already spoken for as Hobgoblin. Now we're going to make him
not in this
Venom?
world, not yet.
Yeah, man. You don't know.
I mean, I feel you. I see what you're saying. It was just a bummer for me for that to be the last thing you saw. I was like,
man, I loved it.
No, man, I loved it.
Symbiote.
It was awesome.
Golly.
Yeah, man.
He's not Venom.
You need to let go.
I know.
Right?
Let go and let God. Did you guys have any irks throughout the game? Because I did love it other than those two things. I thought it was anticlimactic for the kiss, and the symbiote thing just bugged me there at the very end.
I just loved it so much.
Game of the year kind of thing?
For me it is, yes. For me it is.
Beating out God of War?
Oh yeah, beating out God of War, beating out Detroit.
Was Detroit in the running?
For me it was.
For Ed, yeah.
For me, Detroit was above God of War.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ed's all about the story, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, me too, but dang. I need to get back to that game. I haven't played it since I recorded it the first time. And we found out we couldn't use cards to flip around things. And I was like, well, not recording that anymore. Chris?
I really enjoyed it, even more so than I expected, than I thought that I would. It does not beat God of War for me. God of War is still number one. I honestly don't think that anything can beat it. The only thing that I'm holding out hope might be able to overtake God of War for me is Red Dead Redemption, and really that's only because everybody else expects it to be a Game of the Year contender. I'm just like, hey, let's see if I get blown away. But I could easily, out of all the games that I've played this year, I probably have it at number 2. The only thing that kind of overall it bothered me a bit, this really only applies to because I was going for the platinum. It felt to me like with all the side stuff, it got grindy at some points where I was just like, if for some reason I didn't have this weird desire to get this digital trophy that doesn't matter at all and I don't actually get a real thing in real life, I would not be doing this grindy stuff. I would have just done the story stuff and been done, because the story or the crime missions and everything, like, it's cool when you've done 4 or 5 of them, but then when they're just kind of the same thing over and over, it's like, all right, this is getting a little too samey for me. But that's all stuff
kind of how I felt.
Yeah, that's the only things you had to do if you're going for the platinum. So
yeah.
I think the average Joe that doesn't care about trophies or whatever is just going to play a few of them and enjoy those. And be, oh, that's cool. I love it when he goes in slow-mo and shoots the thing and does the finishing move. And they're gonna love it. So you know,
it's funny. I barely use the finishing moves ever.
Oh my gosh, I use the finishing moves like crazy.
Oh my
I was using that junk for health like a mug. I was like, you know what? Just in case I need some health.
Oof.
I didn't use them till the very, very end of the game.
Man, my favorite thing to unlock was where you could do a finishing move and then immediately do another one.
Yes.
That was my favorite.
That's when I started using them. That's when I started using them, because I was like, oh, well, I can get 2 guys without wasting 2 things of focus.
Especially when it was those flying sable guys.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
yeah.
those guys
moves.
were the worst.
Hated those guys.
Those guys were the worst in the whole freaking thing. I was up in the air with Sable. I didn't know how I felt about them, or I felt like they were a little shoehorned in there to make another enemy.
Yeah, well, I mean, based on you talking about the actual character Sable or the men in general?
The outfit.
Yeah,
the whole
I mean,
thing.
I kind of think that they were as well, and then even Sable, the character, because she's an actual Spider-Man.
Silver Sable.
Yeah, Silver Sable. Like she was just kind of there and gone. Like she really didn't play much part.
I thought we'd fight.
Weird.
I think we are.
We'd fight.
I think she's gonna be involved in one of the DLCs. It seems to be that way based on the name of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
We don't know for sure, but yeah, I think she's gonna pop back up in some way or another.
Yeah, because then, the name of it is doggone it. I just
like Silver Linings or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Silver Sable returns. We think she's coming back.
The return of Silver Zarya.
All right, give it a grade, Edward.
A+.
What about you, Christopher?
I give it an A. Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't give it a plus because a plus I reserve that for God of War right now.
That's right.
That's like A++ for me.
Yeah, but an A+ can be like a 97.
Okay,
and
then I'll
God
go
of
A+.
War can still be a 99.
I'll go A+.
Man, I think I got an A+ that thing too. The only thing, I really liked it. The only thing that did get me is kind of what Chris is saying. I ended up beating the game because I want to make sure I had it beat before we did the spoiler cast.
Yeah.
And then went back and platinumed it. And man, though it really does get really repetitive on the because
when
towards the end of the game, when you're going for the plat, it's the crime guys, the Sable guys, and there's one other one. Like
the
where there's
guys
3
or whatever.
Yeah, the demon guys.
Yes.
And so there's 5 usually in each. So there's 15 of the same feeling thing in each district.
Right.
And so if you hadn't taken care of all those already as you played, then, I had to do, I think, 14 in total at the end there.
Yep.
And I'm just doing them back to back to back. And maybe that's why. But I was like, oh, Lord, like, we get it. Like, you don't like me. We got to take care of this thing.
And it got to be because I actually ended up saving a lot of my side stuff. Because it was like 3/4 of the way through that I realized, okay, I do want to go ahead and have the platinum pop at the end of the recording. So it's like, okay, I'm going to focus this weekend on all the side stuff. But I had already let my New York go to hell in a handbasket. So everywhere I'm swinging, I've got like rockets coming at me. And now a guy's sniping at me. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, can you just leave me alone for 2 minutes? I don't think
there's a way to avoid that.
Well, I don't either, but like some people had a lot of that stuff already done. Like I had almost every bit of the crimes to be done, so I'm constantly swinging around.
I don't think those had anything to do with the fact that you got shot at the whole end of the game.
Well, I think he's saying that like the regular crimes in the beginning, I had all those done before the town went bad, where Chris didn't. So he had the Sable things to do, the crime things to do from the first part of the game.
Yep.
Oh, you're saying
I didn't do hardly
just the fact that you had to get to that stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't done hardly any of the crimes. So because I had already passed the Sinister 6 area where everybody in the whole city's trying to shoot at me, now I had to swing around the city to find these crimes and constantly have people shoot at me. I didn't have any of them done yet. So all of them were unlocked in every district.
Oh my god.
I wish I would have done at least the thug missions early on. But I wasn't doing a ton of the side content. I was just doing like the backpacks, and because I realized, I'm going to need this to unlock suits, and so I was doing that stuff, and I wasn't really focusing in on the other things because I knew I was going to get the platinum, but I wasn't thinking about, I want to line it up to where it ends when I finish the game. So there towards the end, I was like, crap, I got to knock out all this side content, and by then New York was a disaster. And everywhere I went, I've got a rocket. It's tracking on me. I've swung through 5 buildings, but it's still tracking me for some reason.
I know. Those things.
And I got to catch this bird.
Right?
Golly. Yeah, that's grindy for sure.
Yeah.
Man, Spider-Man. In the books for all 3 of us.
Doggone it.
I'm glad I got it physical because I'm definitely going to want people to borrow that game.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually going to
go.
I'm going to let Stacy. We're going to because since I got the collectors, it's a physical game. I'm going to put it on Stacy's PS4 and let her play it because she started up a character on mine on one of my second saves, but I'm going to put it on over there so she can play it, and I think she's going to enjoy it. I don't know if she'll get all the way to the very, very end because it may get a little too technical for her. We'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's definitely excited to give it a shot.
Good. Dang it. Great game. Thank you, Insomniac.
Yes.
That was awesome. Thank you for making a real superhero game. I feel like you feel like Spider-Man in this game. the animation and all the technicalities that they have to do.
They did such a good job on the facial animation. This is like,
oh my gosh,
this is like the first time since like a Naughty Dog game where I'm like, man, these are good facial animations.
When he's looking down at May at the end and he's crying and he's like scratched up.
Don't open that window.
I never screenshot things, and I screenshotted that thing. And I was like, I'm saving that picture just in case.
Man.
Just when you start up the game and the very first time you're swinging, he jumps out of his apartment to get ready to go, and he jumps out. Just immediately, it was just like, oh.
Yeah, I know. When the camera just sets over his shoulder, you're like, it's time to do this thing.
Right?
Let's freaking go.
Beautiful.
And then like the spinning around that he does and like the way that you could go through. I didn't even notice this till the very end. I had already platinumed the game, but you're swinging by the construction and how he will like go through one of those tubes.
Yes.
And like the way he goes through the fire escapes and climbs up them and all that. Was just like so amazing. The detail, like I never felt like the animation hiccuped really. You know what I'm saying? Even if I like smacked into a wall, it felt like I like hit the wall and started running. You know what I'm saying? Like it just all felt so fluid. It was insane how fluid it felt.
Man.
Yeah.
Doggone it. All right. We've spoiled Spider-Man.
Yes, we have.
Was I not supposed to? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, sorry. If you're still listening and you haven't played, I don't know what you're doing.
I mean, May's fine.
Yeah. Go Redbox it if you don't have the $60 to drop on it. Redbox it and just dip your toe in the water. Just feel it.
Yes.
Oh, man. So good. I wish there was a timer. I'd love to see how long it took me to beat it.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
right.
wait, is there not?
A timer around there?
I don't know if there is.
I don't know. I don't know if there is
I feel
either.
like there is.
Maybe on the, I think there might be
Like on the save screen,
when you first fire it up.
File? Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
I think there
is
something there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might go look.
Pretty sure.
All right. Sufficiently spoiled. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
Spoilercast, baby. We about this thing. Holler.